Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are
TwinFinity.
TwinFinity.
Hello! It hasn't been that long. It feels like it's longer than it has been.
I said it was a month.
But it's only been 2 weeks. We just double checked.
And, not that everything gets published exactly the same day that we do it, so maybe it'll be closer to 3 weeks than two.
No.
She says no. It's 1 week after the Niagara Falls workshop.
Yes, it is.
That was late September 2019.
Yes. That was a week ago already. So for the people that were there, we miss you, and we can't believe it's already been a week that we saw you. It's crazy.
That weekend just went by in a blink.
Oh, it did. It was so fast.
Yes, it was. It was quite the workshop.
Yeah. Super different than we've had before, and super intense. There was not one single person that didn't leave there transformed in some way, somehow. I'm still just absorbing everything that happened, both physically and energetically. My sleep's been really wonky because I can feel in my cells and my mind and my soul, just so much change.
I need help with the name. Yeshaya?
Yes, well done.
Yeshaya and Kalina brought a angle to the workshop that we had not seen in our standard workshops that we've been to at any level since Chicago. And they brought a depth, a real strong depth. If somebody really wanted to dig deeper into 5D, they brought that.
Did they ever?
Yes, they did. And also there was past life regression talk too. There was Angie and Marla. Both were dealing with that. Myself, where did I go? I went into the world of relationships and how they sometimes run off the rails, and a lot of what I talked about came from what we've picked up from questions along the way, like our question and answer videos, like this one will eventually morph into.
That's right.
So sometimes people hadn't been asking some of the hard questions to go with some of the more obvious questions, but there's always the hard question depth in behind, the meaning behind the meaning. So I talked about that, and that was my contribution.
Yes.
But overall, it was a really good workshop.
Well, before we go there, I just wanted to also say Debbie Dubois, her talk was about creative expression.
That too.
Which was really good too.
Yes. Yeah. So how to express yourself through, something as simple as art can just explode out of you, and letting your mind wander, play, and be free. And it helps with grounding too when things are all scattered. So she had a great talk too. Yeah. I enjoyed it all.
So I wanted to ask, we didn't talk about this beforehand. I just wanted to put you on the spot.
Here I am, on the spot. Where else do I live?
Because it's fun. What would you say was your favorite thing of the whole weekend, the whole workshop?
I had that thought on the airplane on the way home, and I had to start out with about 10 things and then say, well, I can't keep 10 because I only needed one. And I backed up and I backed up and I backed up and slowly peeled away even the bits that I really, really liked. Only because it's impacted me so much. The group regression. The group regression has kind of blown me up a little bit. I'm my usual grounded self where I'm okay. I start from my roots, and then I reach out and I look around like I've just climbed a tree, and I say, okay, and then I climb back out of my tree and I'm standing by my roots, quite guarding my energy and everything else. I have been completely blown up ever since that, because I walked out, left my roots behind, and was thoroughly lost in 5D for about 15 minutes. And I've come back, I guess, a little bit more aware that I can do that. And I'm a little still shaken up by it a little, I suppose you could say. Shaken up a lot by it. In fact, we got to go hiking tomorrow so I can go touch some ground and some. It's going to be some snow out there
and
because of
some
the season.
mountains.
Some mountains. Got to get out there again. I gotta plant myself back down because I've been losing a little bit of sleep too, thinking about it all. Change happens whether you like it or not.
Well, that's awesome that the regression was your favorite part because it was mine too. And we're not going to get too much into that because
No.
this is a question and answer video. But just to say, we will do a separate video on both of our experiences from the regression at the workshop. Marla, so just to back up again, just Rob has already said it, but I'll just reiterate. So I talked about regression therapy and the benefits of it. That was part of my discussion at the workshop. And then after that, Marla actually did a regression for the whole group. And both Rob and I did not do a past life regression like what was kind of guided.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you're supposed to do something when you go into a hypnotic state. There's a target. There's a goal. Yeah, okay. Exit stage left the goal. It went out. It went a completely different direction.
Which is exactly what was part of my talk, though, is because when you do regression therapy, your soul will give you whatever it is that you need. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go to a past life. You might go to a future life. What we went to was both of our starseed roots. And we didn't even really connect the dots about that until I think it was yesterday that I found some stuff on the internet. Just not even looking at all. It just was like in an email, and I clicked on it and opened it up, and I'm just amazed. You know how this journey works, right?
About, what was it, 6 months or 8 months ago or whatever, I asked Angie, what is a star seed? I've heard of this. I get little bits and snippets of information, and Angie told me, and then I don't think we've talked about it since.
No.
Then you're not going to believe this.
The dog is scratching your hand, asking you to throw the ball.
Okay. Ball, dog, dog on. My hand was getting scratched.
Yes, it was. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Digressions.
That was funny. She was like, paw, paw, paw. Like, hey, stop ignoring me.
Right on my knuckles.
Okay, now while you explain, I have to take a picture because I was trying to do this before. She's being super funny again. Well, she's always extra crazy when we do videos. I don't know what happened.
We're down on ground level. We're not on a couch or on a chair. Yeah, Angie's on a pillow. I'm sitting square on the carpet.
It's here just for fun.
Oh, we having more fun?
This is what our dog is doing right now.
Yeah.
Hold that straight. She's upside down playing with her ball.
That I threw and she's brought back already.
She's entertaining herself. Anyway, I'm sorry. We're getting way off topic.
We are completely off topic. Are we going to go question and answer? Do you have more to say?
Yeah. No, I'll just say, we are going to do a video eventually just on both of our experiences because they were totally cool. Just wow. And why we want to share is not just because they were cool for us, but because most of us, if not all of us, on the twin flame ascension path are starseeds. We come from other planets, and we're here to bring that evolved knowledge and ground it into the earth right now to help with ascension. So we want to share our experiences so you can have validation in knowing if you have these experiences either in the past or in the future, to know you're not crazy. You're not making it up. You're not nuts. It's very, very real. Exciting stuff.
Well, I think I'm not crazy, but if I keep on thinking about what happened on that regression, I'll drive myself crazy.
It's pretty cool.
Grounding, help.
2 other comments before we start question and answers. One, I keep forgetting to mention this in every video, so I finally put it at the top of our question and answer list to remind myself to tell you guys. For those of you that don't connect with us on Facebook, pretty much Facebook, as we put links to all of the things. So we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on Instagram. We're mostly on Facebook though, because quite frankly, it's just the easiest medium I find. I'm not even going to go there with the medium thing. Just
the easiest medium for the medium to play on.
Funny. Anyway, most of our posts, when we do written posts, are on Facebook, but I do try and put at least some, if not all, if I can, on YouTube as well, because there is like a community section where you can add one picture or a video and then notes or written stuff. So for those of you that don't connect with us on Facebook, I've been wanting to tell you that you can find our written stuff on the community tab on YouTube. Just so you know. And the last thing we wanted to mention, should we talk about this now? Our numbers of videos?
Yeah, let's do this too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much to catch up on.
I know.
Lots happened in the past couple of
I
weeks.
know.
You know, brain shattered, everything else. So do it all.
Rob's brain's fried.
Oh, bzzzt.
So without even, it's not like we go counting our videos and discover how many we have. A couple of weeks ago, I think when I was uploading the last question answer video, Psycho Dog, if you can hear all that, it told us how many videos we had. And we were at 98 videos, which means this one is number 99, which means the one after this is 100.
Woohoo, 100.
So yeah, for fun, we wanted to celebrate with you guys our 100th video. So we wanted your contribution as what you would like us to do to celebrate our 100th video. So we have a couple options.
One is a live Q&A.
Yes.
That might be interesting because we could do with a live Q&A. We would throw it open to just about every aspect of what you could possibly ask us. Even if you want to know something that normally people don't ask us, yeah, that'd be the right time to do it. Catch us off guard when we got no choice because there's no turning back.
Yeah. And that we would do on YouTube rather than Facebook. So those of you that aren't on Facebook can connect as well. So a live YouTube video. And we would, of course, ahead of time give you the date and time that we're planning to do that. So that's one option.
Another option is you know, there's been so many times, especially with the story videos, where we would go to the mountains, go somewhere on snowshoes or on our boots, stop, do a video, and then go home. You get to see where the video was. I was thinking maybe it would be neat to start out from home and take little snapshots of videos along the way and have like a whole day of where we would go when we've gone to the mountains. Show some of the road along the way and a few of the other sights and bits while we're hiking. Oh yeah, and probably still stop somewhere and do a video right in the middle.
And the driving, the crazy things we do when we're driving, because we're just weird people.
I'd like to have an example of craziness while driving.
Well, here I'm gonna demonstrate. We'll normally be holding hands. Rob will be driving. We're holding hands, and he'll just go like this. He'll lick my hand. And
usually it's a dabble.
I was just going to say, there's definitions. There's a lick, there's a dabble, there's a kiss.
The lick is like a dog would lick. Dabble is like a fly would do. You know, just doot, doot. And then there's
with the
kiss.
proboscis. And you always say it's the proboscis touch.
The proboscis touch.
See, yeah. we're weird people, okay? And you know that already.
And then there's the normal old kiss that most people would do.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll expect that it's a kiss and it's a lick or a dabble. And I'll be like, oh, I got a lick. Thanks. You know, because I'm not grateful to have something. So that's what I mean by weird.
I asked the question.
You did.
I should not have asked that question.
No, you shouldn't have.
Okay.
So we can do that, or if you want a third option, throw it out there in the comments of this video.
Yeah,
give us some suggestions. If you want something different, fun, weird, I don't know, you throw out some ideas.
I'd like to hear all suggestions. Maybe we could blend a bunch of stuff together.
Sure.
But, your folks' input, whether we get 5 suggestions or 50 suggestions, yeah, throw it out there. Stuff you maybe think we should do.
Yep.
That we wouldn't normally think of.
Yep. So
100, your input.
Video. Yep. Have fun. We'll have fun. Okay, now that we're like 14 minutes exactly. Look at that. I like that.
Now that we're 14 minutes in.
Yeah, we should.
Had too much to talk about. We could have split this into 3 videos, but then we wouldn't have had 100.
That's right.
It's so complicated.
Okay.
Questions?
Yeah.
Oh. In Twin Flame community, we often hear forgiveness and unconditional love. In regards to forgiveness, what exactly are we forgiving? That's a very interesting question. I'm sure we need to forgive something. That means we were wronged by our counterpart at some point during this journey. What's the difference between forgiving versus enabling misbehaviors? That's a question within a question. Thanks, Angie and Rob. Hope all is well. All is well. First of all, in regards to forgiveness, usually that means we're wronged by our counterpart. Two different, completely different directions of forgiveness. Some people really are needing to find ways to forgive spirit for the rough part in the journeys, as opposed to taking a direct shot at their counterpart, who they tend to already have forgiven for being them. They're just wondering why the journey is so hard. So you could maybe need to forgive your counterpart, maybe need to forgive spirit. There's not a lot of people on the twin flame journey who don't feel that they have been hard done by.
There's not a lot that do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Two negatives make a positive. So, yes. In other words, a lot of people feel like they've been wronged or...
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
What is the difference between forgiving versus enabling misbehaviors? It all depends upon whether or not the misbehaving that needs the forgiving becomes repetitious. If it doesn't become repetitious, then something happened, something's forgiven, and life continues on.
Right. Because just because you forgive, it doesn't mean you condone it and say, okay, you're welcome to keep doing that. Now, can I back up a step, though?
You can back up 3 steps, because I ran all over the question already.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. Okay. Yeah, she's having a party with her ball there. Yeah.
Got more troubles.
Just murdered her ball. Stuffing all over the floor right now.
And she's trying to eat some of it.
Okay, in regards to forgiveness, what exactly are we forgiving? So there's not one thing. It depends on your own journey.
Yeah,
often, though,
your bit.
The twin flame, I know a lot of people are moving away from the term twin flame, so we're trying to stretch it. Whatever you want to call it. Your twin soul, your twin flame, your divine counterpart, your DM, your DF, all terms, okay? We just say twin flame because that's
where we are. That's our foundation.
Yeah, but we mean all of it. So often what happens, though, is you trigger each other. It's part of the path, right? And oftentimes, it's not even done consciously. The other person might do something and they push one of your buttons, or they push all of your buttons. Which
sometimes it's all of them.
Yep. And it's part of the path because what you've agreed to do in spirit before you came here on this earthly plane is said, hey, we're going to work together and I'm going to push your buttons, you're going to push mine, so that we can grow and heal, so that we can see where we still have healing. And this is why we want to do, we're talking about a video about triggers. Well, that's one of the videos we want to do, but it just hasn't been the right time, and I've learned to honor that. When it's the right time, it'll flow. But the whole thing of triggers is they push things, they'll do hurtful things, they'll say hurtful things, they'll say, yes, let's meet, and then they don't show up, or they flake out and say, oh, I can't, and this can happen over and over and over again. So there's many things that can require forgiveness on this journey. However, just because we forgive, it doesn't mean we give permission, and this doesn't just go for the twin flame, this goes for anybody. It can go for parents, friends, previous relationships, future relationships. When you forgive, it doesn't mean you say, okay, you can do that again, no worries. What you're doing is you're forgiving and saying, I understand, at some level I agreed to this. I understand you were doing it for a higher intention of helping me so that I could find the healing that I needed. I understand whatever I need to understand, and I release you from any sort of resentment, anger, held back hurt that I may feel. I let go of that. However, part of your responsibility is setting boundaries. That's part of this journey as well, is teaching people how to treat you. People learn how to treat you by what you accept, what you tolerate, what you allow. When you can set a boundary and say, okay, I forgive that. I forgive that you have canceled on me 15 times. However, this does not work for me. Next time, we need to find a better way to communicate. If you can't meet me, or whatever the experience is that they, did wrong or triggered you on or pushed your buttons on, it's allowing you to step into your power and say, this works for me or this doesn't work for me, and let's find something else that does work for me. Did I answer all of that, or was there more? I think there was another piece.
No.
Okay, I think, we got that. What was the difference for forgiving versus enabling? Yeah. You can forgive, but then you set a boundary and say no more.
When it comes to forgiveness, when you're dealing with spirit, I don't know if I'd really ask for a ton of forgiveness, but if I did, I would maybe, in whatever way you communicate with spirit, mention that you learned something from what you didn't really appreciate how it was taught to you, and that maybe there might be a less harsh way of learning again. So let spirit know that you've learned, because if all you do is ask for or try to give forgiveness for how spirit maybe put you through more than what you felt that they needed to, without expressing that you actually learned something, they're going to disappoint you because they're going to make you learn again. So you should.
But spirit's always on your side. So
spirit is.
And I think they were more asking about the twin flame, but it's
Yes.
good that you bring up spirit because everybody, everything is your mirror. And if you have work to do, it's going to be reflected back to you.
And some people don't mind their twin or divine partner, but they really do mind the path.
Yes.
So.
And it's when you can remember that on a higher level, you chose this path. I know that's a trigger for some people. Some people are like, I did not. Yeah, we did. We all did. We all, when there was a roll call, who wants to go down and help Earth? We were all like, pick me, I'll do it. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. We won't get into that.
Next question?
Yeah.
Okay. We had a question that we were kind of stumbling over.
We were afraid to answer the first time, so we're like, we'll make it the second question.
We'll make it the second question. That way we can bury it in the middle if we don't do well with it, and then we can run away. Second question. I don't know if you can do an answer on this subject, but when you do your Q&A, could you talk about the incredible sexual pull and energy of TFs amongst regular energies? I've been in a TF situation since fall of 2017. No sexual relation yet, but such an incredible pull as nothing I've ever had. I keep thinking it will dissipate as it typically does whether I'm involved in a regular relationship or not. He is not available, and we started out as friends and still are. Thanks, Angie, and Rob too. You're welcome.
So are you diving into that first or me?
I'll let you start.
Okay. So just to clarify, it's not like the sex part of it that we're like intimidated by. It's more trying to explain the sexual push and pull that you have. And God, I remember that. You know where I most remember that in our journey? Was back in 1998. After we broke up.
Yeah.
Then we'd still, because we lived in the same apartment building, it was easy to come back together. We would still, and even when, I think it lasted for years.
Yeah, it slowly tapered down, but...
It took us years to stop having a sleepover night every 2 weeks, every month.
Sleepovers.
We had lots of sleepovers.
We did.
Yep. And so what is happening is so many things, and this is why this is such a hard question. How many times have we said? We could do a whole video on this one question. But so many things are happening. So number one, your one soul split in two, right? So when that one soul recognizes itself, it ignites, which is why one of the terms that we are often called is twin flames, because it's like fire. So you've ignited this spark in each other, and now that that spark is alive, it constantly pulls you back together, because anything that belongs together, which you do belong together, at least on some level. There's another question in here where we're going to answer that.
Oh, here we go. The question I haven't read yet.
Yeah. I don't even know if we'll get to it today, but it's about, are all twin flames meant to be together in this lifetime?
Oh boy.
Yeah, we won't go there yet.
We're going to touch that one?
Well, we'll see how much time we have.
How about we hang around on this question? This one's real easy in comparison to that
kidding.
one.
So what's happening though is because your one soul has now recognized itself, it wants to come back together. Like energy attracts like energy. And because it's the same energy, it's now drawn, pulled.
It's a very
magnetically.
It's a strong, very aligned energy.
Yes. So one of the ways that it pulls together is sexually, because that is one way where you can physically unite. When you think your soul is already united, even though it's in two bodies, it's still in 5D. It's together. But that's part of what we're here to do, is ground that togetherness into earth and into 3D by being in two bodies and then merging those two bodies. So the sexual energy is pulling you together to merge your physical bodies, merge the 3D energy, and then expand it out into 5D.
I have a comment in regards to this too. The incredible sexual pull usually also creates a very strong bond. Once that's been experienced, then the rest of the bonds become a little bit more evident, and the sexual pull goes from being more of a body thing to more of a recognition sharing, almost a spiritual thing.
Totally.
So
it's a very spiritual.
Yeah, so it actually becomes part of the spiritual journey and less of the just sexual journey.
Yeah.
It morphs. It really does. I don't want to say it's less passionate, because I actually think it's more passionate. It's more sharing. It's more connected. But it's when it morphs, it's also it reaches, oh boy, wow, how am I going to say this? A more mature, more happier, broad-based level, as opposed to the wow, we're together again. Wait, we got 20 minutes. Let's go. No, that breaks down into a wouldn't it be better if we could wait till we have an hour sometime? And then just share.
It's so much more of a deeper experience than just regular everyday old sex. I mean, I think almost anybody will tell you physical intimacy with your twin flame is very different than with anybody else, because it's such a deep, intimate experience on all levels, physically, emotionally, sexually, whereas sometimes just sex is just that, sex. It's just a physical experience with no connection on the other levels.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just three-dimensional, and it's pretty darn
it's still good.
Still pretty darn good 3D stuff, but when you've also got some 4D, and sometimes some people even experience 5D.
Oh, totally.
It's way more encompassing.
Yeah. So that's why you feel that pull, is your soul is drawn to itself, right? It wants to re-merge with itself on all levels, and physical is one of the levels.
So it doesn't push you away physically. I'll guarantee that.
Yeah.
So there is a very strong pull.
Yes.
But don't be surprised if that strong pull starts to mean something different, almost in a hurry.
What do you mean by that?
Just exactly what I'd said. It starts to morph in a hurry.
Okay.
Yeah, because then it has more experience to go with.
Okay.
Anything else on that one?
No.
Oh, I guess I go to question 3.
Yeah.
It says, "Hi, Angie."
Hi.
That means I get to take a break.
Yes, you do.
I was wondering if you could do a video. That's what this is.
Yes, it is.
Where you share how you transmuted the needy and clingy energy you had before. Aww.
Apparently I didn't.
She just gave it to me.
Yeah, I transmuted it to you. Because you're the needy, clingy one now.
I have the same problem. Not a problem. As I expect many of us do, and I think I know what to do. Okay, I think I'm going to get told. It would be nice to follow a proven process, though. Also, if it's not too much to ask, it's never too much to ask. Sometimes we just don't know, though. Could you bring up how you actually moved from any idea of, moved on? Oh, yeah, moved on from any idea of a relationship, or how that process looked in emotional terms. So many people carry the yin energy, get stuck at the moving on part, since we are blessed slash cursed with consciously knowing about the spiritual connection. How do we accept that we might not ever have this connection in a relationship format? I'm not saying that it'll never happen, but hanging on and not being able to let go doesn't help anyone. I'm glad that question's for Angie.
Okay, so let's go back to the first one.
The clingy energy.
How did I transmute the needy, clingy energy? So this is what's really hard about answering some questions. I know we often want a step-by-step procedure. In fact, just at the workshop, somebody really wanted to know, like, how do I surrender? Everybody says how you have to surrender, but how do you do it? And there's lots of videos out there on that. And it's often not a step-by-step thing because it's such an internal thing. And each journey is different. Yes, we all go through very similar experiences, but how we process them can be very different. So there's no step-by-step process of how to transmute needy, clingy energy.
What is needy, clingy energy?
Well, for me, it was a very insecure energy, and it had a lot to do with abandonment. So that's often a core wound, those of us that have that kind of energy, where that energy is stemming from, is a fear of, God, don't leave me, don't leave me. So we're like hanging on for dear life, right? And then the other person's like, oh God, go away, like too much, which is where the push and pull comes from. You're on them so much that they're like, back the hell off. So it's, if we're going to try and use some step-by-steps. Nice, you haven't bleeped in a long time. Well done. For those of you that don't know our earlier videos,
there's bleeps.
There's lots of bleeps. You'll have to go back and watch our story videos. Step-by-step process. Number one, recognize or figure out why you have the needy, clingy energy. Where does it stem from?
What are your fears? What are you so afraid of that you feel you must try to hang on because you're afraid it's going to run away?
Yes.
Identify your fears.
Yes. And often they come from childhood, so you can reflect back on your childhood and ask, where did this first come from? Where did I first feel this energy from? A lot of us, it was because we were abandoned by our parents in some way, or whoever our caregiver was, at some point in our childhood. And maybe it wasn't abandoned physically, it just might have been emotionally, might have been on different levels. But when you understand where that comes from, then you can start to heal it. And that's why the process is different for everybody, because number one, we don't all have the same core wound. Often it is abandonment, but yours might be something else. Sorry, I got a dog licking me. You know how I don't like that. So once you recognize it, then you can start to heal it. How do you heal it? By giving yourself what you are in need of. Because when you remember, you have to be your own source. On this journey, we must find wholeness within. How many times have we said that? Before you can connect with someone else, mainly your twin flame. You have to find that wholeness and be balanced within first. So give yourself what you are missing. Give yourself the whatever you didn't get, whether it was love, whether it was attention, whether it was honoring your child. Connect with your inner child. We have a video on that if you want to know more about inner child stuff. So that's step number 2, 3, I forget where we're at.
That's the problem. It's really hard to put together a step-by-step process.
Well, it kind of is, yeah.
Part of a lot of fears, especially when it comes to hanging on,
I'm just reading for the next part.
Is the fears of letting go.
Yes.
You must also, I must is a hard word because it's almost a demand. But I would suggest preparing for some level of letting go, and really, it's not about trying to be realistic or anything like that. If you always focus on being, let's say, together without ever focusing on being apart, you don't give yourself any other choice than to be together. Anything else becomes a shattering failure. Even though sometimes letting go and growing apart is one of the best blessings you can have. So learning how to let go just a little bit, having that permission within yourself to be alone, be apart, be disconnected, that goes a long way into suppressing or releasing the clingy energy.
Yes. Another piece is ask yourself, what does this other person give me? What is it that I need, want, desire, crave, can't live without with from them? And then start to give that to yourself. You might list 15 things. You might list one thing. Whatever it is, start to understand what it is that you're desiring so much from this other person, and then find a way to give yourself that. That will help as well.
Going back one notch, way back towards the beginning of the video, Debbie talked about creative expression. A lot of us along the way have had a time in our twin flame journey where we've got work and twin flame thoughts. That's it.
Yes.
We've got nothing else in our lives. We've allowed it to consume us. Therefore, it becomes so much of us that we're afraid what would happen if we didn't have it. We would be so empty because it's become almost an unhealthy or too large piece of what we are, what we think about, what we dream about all the time.
Yeah, it
consumes
our life.
Part of learning about releasing. Oh yeah, our war zone over here.
Yeah, I just decided while you're talking, I'm going to take a picture of what Cookie has destroyed over here.
There's going to be pictures after the video. So, yeah, part of also reducing, let's say, clinginess, I'm really stuck on that word, I like that word, is having other things that you also are passionate about. So don't forget to have a life too, and amongst everything else that's consuming you and causing you to be insecure about how big that portion of your life is being consumed by, let's say, twin flameism.
Yes. And then the other piece that they asked was about how did I actually move on from the idea of a relationship. So how I moved on is probably going to be very different from yours or anybody else's. I'm going to do a whole video. In fact, I'll do this separate from the video Rob and I are going to do about our experience of our regression at the workshop. I'm going to do a video on all the regressions I've ever had. This was part of the talk that I did at the workshop. And I think it's beneficial to share with other people. I'll just share it in a different way though. But my second or third, whatever it was, one of my regressions was a life between lives regressions. And I had this way back in 2004. And it's where you're actually regressed back to spirit before you incarnated in this current life. And I met with my soul family, and of course Rob was one of them. And he had told me that, I'm sorry, the magical connection we had was beautiful and everything else, but it was not meant to be a long-term sort of thing. And that's what finally helped me let go. Because if Soul Rob is going to tell me this is not for our future, then I was like, okay, well then I got to move on with my life and get over him. That was, as I say, in 2004. We broke up in 1998. So I had 6 years of still waiting. I mean, I still had relationships in between there, but still I was struggling. And what about this man? And what was it about him? Because you know what your twin flame is like, right? They're just, nobody compares. So that's what helped me move on. That probably won't be what it does for you because not everybody's going to have that unique experience.
A lot of people are expecting that the twin flame journey to get to union is going to be in 2 or 3 years. Angie just said that she went through the letting go phase for 6 years. Wow. We took the long road.
We did. That's what first waivers and path. What are they called?
First timers.
Pioneers. Pioneers, and you break the path. Yeah, we were the suckers.
Trail breakers.
That's the one. Yeah, we were the suckers that like, let us go first because we know how to do it. Keeners. That's when you want to kick your soul's ass. Okay, you can believe me again.
All right.
Now, what often is the case for people now, what's helping them move on, let go, finally accept this isn't going to happen, is when their twin flame gets married, when their twin flame has a child with someone else, when their twin flame goes into a long-term relationship, when their twin flame moves halfway across the world.
Yeah.
Or when it's been years and years and years. How many people have we read stories of? It's been 20 years for us. And we're like, yeah, we relate. We know. And they're like, you know what? I finally have to accept this is never going to happen. It's when the ego finally gets tired, finally will surrender and go, okay, I see no other path. I've tried everything. I've done everything. I've convinced them every way I can. I've told them everything I can. I've talked to them telepathically. I've healed everything I know how to heal, and still nothing. So fine. I surrender. I give up. I let go. I'm moving on with my life. That's often what happens for a lot of people. And that was part of it for me when you got into your 12-year relationship.
He was like, no.
And we met and he was like, I'm
smitten.
I can laugh now, but I wasn't laughing then. So that's often what happens. Your ego just gets smacked down enough that it finally goes, okay, I get it. Moving on. Is there a step-by-step process? No. It's different for everybody. That was a long answer, but I hope it was helpful.
Next question?
Yes.
Hello, Angie and Rob. I have a question about abundance, especially financial. So do I. I remember in your story, Angie had struggled with certain jobs and was out of work. How do you feel the TF dynamic helped you turn your situation around? Do you feel that part of it was to do with your masculine and feminine energies being unbalanced? Has Rob always been financially stable? How does Rob feel about the TF dynamic playing a part in his financial abundance? And does he use much of his feminine energy in creating that abundance?
That's a great question. Because I know a lot of people on this path struggle with abundance.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first?
I have so much to say, I got to sort it out. So how about you say something so that I've got little tidbits left over?
Okay. So yes, part of my journey very early in the journey after Rob and I broke up, part of the reason, there was many reasons, as there are for all of us, why we end up splitting up on this path with our twin flame. But one of the many reasons why Rob and I split up is because I was without a job. I basically went homeless. I was evicted from my apartment building and was living with friends with nothing because all my stuff got sold. It was a really devastating time in my life. So part of that whole thing was because, yes, I was very unbalanced. I was so living in 5D that I wasn't grounded in 3D at all. And it wasn't that I wasn't trying to get a job, but I mean, I must have looked flaky when I went to interviews, and I didn't even get a lot of interviews. They probably just looked at my resume and could feel the energy off of it. Even though my resume was awesome. I mean, I had just graduated from nursing. I graduated with distinction. I was, had all the great marks, but my energy probably screamed flaky. So getting a job just was not working for me. And it was because I was incredibly out of balance. But it was also part of my path. I chose that in spirit form before coming here. I agreed to that part of the path in terms of going broke, being homeless, because often we need to experience the lowest of lows on this journey in order to propel us to the highest of highs. You have to have the balance, right? But yes, it was because I was very out of balance. Not just my masculine and feminine, but my 3D, 5D. Very out of balance.
When I moved to Calgary in 1994, that was 3 years before Angie and I met, I had moved here for a career advancement. I was taking a higher position, and it was my dream opportunity, and I was very focused on success. I was a rookie at what I was doing, so I was still trying to earn the financial aspect of it, needing to prove myself.
Was it your first management position?
First management
Okay, it
position.
was. Okay.
So I was very focused on success, and I wanted to be financially successful because I had just come out of a marriage that had left me a little bit financially unsuccessful. So I was carrying a backpack full of debt, and there was many reasons why I was focused on very much the three-dimensional aspect. When Angie was very unbalanced, I had no room in my life for that. I was looking for a highly driven individual with some of the same, at least, core beliefs in getting things done and having stable careers. And
Which
without,
is funny because that's totally who I am now. Wasn't me back then.
of course, here I am now. I'm saying, yeah, I just stepped out of my management position now, and now I'm making less money. Yay! It's gonna go.
But you're still highly driven. We're both just naturally highly driven people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Just to have fun with this, I do most of the driving. She's highly driven.
Yes, I'm highly driven. Crazy!
Okay, with bad humor.
Yes. Okay, carry on.
There was one time, years ago, I was a bad boy and I lost my driver's license for a month. Just too many speeding tickets and illegal turning tickets and all those other kinds of things. And during that 1 month, my friends called me a highly driven individual because I wasn't driving. They were.
They were driving you everywhere.
That was called a tangent.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
The TF dynamic, how did it help? Back then, I had no concept of TF dynamic. In fact, I didn't even really have a cornerstone of soulmate dynamic.
No, we did. That's what we believed we were.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
But I just understood it from a very basic point of view.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So, yeah, it was all about the ways that we didn't connect, and that started to become the focus. So it was almost like the dynamic between us was very much into recognizing our differences and giving us our excuse for separation. Really, it was very focused on what we weren't as opposed to what we were. So I don't know, from my point of view, even looking back at it, saying, oh yeah, maybe that's how that was working. I don't know if the TF dynamic was doing more than making sure that we were lined up headfirst into a more typical TF experience. Because it was focused on where we were different, it was reminding us that we both needed to have growth. And therefore, it was giving us any excuse, either 3D, 4D, or 5D, to push us apart.
For me, though, I will say, just to make sure I'm answering it.
Masculine and feminine
here,
energies?
Do you play a part in his...
Financial abundance.
No, hang on. How did the TF dynamic help you turn your situation around? For me, one of the things that helped was that Rob did not abandon me, no matter what. Now, he didn't support me. It's not like he said, hey, you can come live with me. He did not lend me a single dime of money. There was one time where I had no place to go and he wouldn't let me sleep in his apartment, and I actually slept in my storage room because they forgot to lock me out of that. So I was able to sleep in my storage room. So he wasn't helpful in those ways, but when I slowly regained a little bit of balance, I was working at 7-Eleven, and he actually came to visit me at work one night. I felt like a complete loser, I will admit, because here I was in my 7-Eleven smock, and I was Wouldn't you know it, mopping floors. I couldn't have been doing something like, not that mopping floors is bad or, but it just, I mean, to go from being a registered nurse to mopping floors, it just, I felt really ashamed. And Rob came in.
She felt ashamed. I wasn't looking for any form of shame or unshame. I just found her again.
Yeah, because we hadn't seen each other in a while.
Yeah.
And he still loved me just as much. It was written all over his face. It was written in his hug. It just showed me that, you know what? I can be at my lowest point of my life and still you care. And you're not running away from me going, you crazy lady, I want nothing more to do with you. That was so impactful in my life. Like, I can't even tell you. I mean, as much as I felt like a complete loser, just the fact that he would show up and support me and be there and still talk to me was impactful in a positive way.
And I was just happy to see her again, and I was happy to see that she had a fresh start, and I didn't care what level it was. I've been a gas jockey in my time too. I've I've been at the bottom. Now I started at the bottom, and then I had to go to a different industry and start at the bottom, and then another industry and start at the bottom. I've done that lots. I did not have judgment. I've been at the bottom of a few industries.
Yeah. Now, to go back though, they were asking about your financial abundance.
How does Rob feel about the TF dynamic playing a part in his financial abundance?
And first, sorry, can we just go back to the question beforehand? They were asking, has Rob always been financially stable?
When I went through my divorce, I got some help from my parents, and I only got enough to get me through. I didn't actually let them know how badly I was beaten down at that point, how much it had cost me to become unmarried. So I got enough to stand me back up on my feet, and there was a couple of creature comforts that I wanted that I knew that I would enjoy and that would help with my overall stability and enjoyment of life, and I got those, even though I had other possibly higher priorities to use money on. But nonetheless, have I always been financially stable? Looking at it, I've always had a financial plan of sorts. I have not been completely out of control. Even if I was taking one credit card that said, hey, transfer all your debt to me for 0% interest for 6 months, and then 5 months later, a different credit card would offer me the same thing. That's why I had 11 credit cards, man. I was flipping money from what was going to be all of a sudden high interest to 0% interest for 6 months. I was flipping money around for years. But that little band of money was also becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. So, if I always been financially stable, I could say that for a while I needed to be financially creative, but stable.
But for the most part, I would say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, ever since I've known you, since 1997, you've been very financially stable.
When I stopped one job and didn't have a demo from the car dealership anymore.
Oh, it was such a rough life.
Yeah, I had to buy a $500 car because that's all I could really afford to run. And then, of course, it broke down right away. I needed another $700, and I paid that too. That's life. But, yeah. I guess I've been stable, but I've never been so abundant that I've been completely carefree. I've been middle of the road, middle class. I could just put it that way. And I'm going to retire comfortably without a yacht, without a private jet. Unless we win the lottery, which we're working on.
That's right.
Angie's been asking me the cost of a private jet lately. She's not denying this. Do you hear that?
Not denying at all.
Yeah,
if you're going to manifest, man, go big.
I could barely afford to fill the gas tanks of a private jet right now. Everything else I have is in some form of attempt to work its way towards a retirement fund.
Those of you that have watched my videos that I've done in my Reiki room, in fact, I know there's some of you that have even commented on one of the things that's on the wall, and it says dream big. And I am a big believer in dreaming big because I understand we are very creative beings and we can have whatever we want. We are unlimited, and dream big. I'm just going to leave it at that. So yes, I have asked about private jets just recently.
Dreaming big is also part of manifestation, and
Absolutely.
that's been well discussed in other questions.
Yes, it has.
And it's going to eventually, no, it already has been a video. We've talked about manifestation.
Yeah, probably more than once.
Manifestation is a cornerstone, and part of it is being able to dream enough to have something to try to manifest.
That's right. So we're at 55 minutes. I think we should leave it there.
Okay.
We'll finish off these other ones in another video.
Yeah, these other ones
This one's really big. That's going to take a bit of time.
Yeah, it's going to take me 3 or 4 minutes just to read it.
Yes.
How about that? That's not what she meant.
No,
but that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. So let us know for our 100th video, next video, what do you want? Do you want a live question answer video on YouTube? Do you want us to do crazy little videos of a Sunday, which is just our normal thing that we do and show you and then do a video afterwards? Do you want something else?
Yep. Do you have a option C, option D?
Yes.
Something else? Throw it out there. Let us know.
Yes.
We're going to have fun with it no matter what comes of it. Might as well be fun that somebody wants us to have fun with.
That's right.
Exactly.
You get a say. Yay. All right, so on that note, we're going to let you go. We're almost at an hour. We try to keep these under an hour. I know you popcorn people that, love our long videos are like, no, don't go. But other people are like, oh my God, shut up already.
That was 4 questions today. We did well.
Okay, glad you think so.
4 questions in 45 minutes. The first 15 minutes wasn't question and
That's
answer.
right, yes. We could have done more if we didn't talk so much, but
we enjoy talking.
We do, yes. All right, we love you guys.
Yes,
we will be back with your surprise video, whatever you want, and
we'll catch you later.
Yes, we will. Bye.
Bye.